Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show Live, where we will be discussing today what you've been long anticipated, the analysis of what's happening with Ukraine, what's happening with Russia, what's happening with the potential of a nuclear conflict. And, it doesn't help when you've got the Putin's guy who's speaking on his as his spokesman on national television, deranged. He says that our submarines can shoot more than 500 nuclear warheads. This would guarantee destruction of the United States of America and all other NATO countries. This guy, Kisilov, appeared to back his argument with the crackpot principle that if Russia wasn't part of the globe, then why do we even need the world? Now, I'm laughing because this is probably the dumbest thing that they could be doing to gin up the nation of Russia, because Russia actually is protesting this, and it's not exactly working for Putin to be able to do his propaganda, because everybody can see they're actually bombing, attacking, and raiding and destroying a neighbor nation without sufficient provocation. Putin goes, his rationalization for this is he's going to go deal with the Nazi elements of Ukraine, which is kind of hilariously stupid to say for a smart KGB agent, because Zelensky, who's the president of the country, is a Jew whose parents and grandparents actually were in the Holocaust. So Putin isn't even trying to come up with a good argument. He's just basically going there. So we're in what we would call the fog of war, which is so much disinformation. And I'm highly suspicious, I have to tell you, highly suspicious when CNN, Lindsey Graham, the State Department, the CIA, all the news anchors are all in agreement vilifying Russia. After 2 years of Russia, I want to know, well, what is the actual circumstance that led to this? Why is it that George Soros is so vigorously invested in the side of the Ukraine? To what degree has Biden, with his Hunter Biden connections and Burisma, with the corrupt oligarchs that are in Ukraine funding the Biden family interests, to what degree are there ties in personal relationships that kind of make them feel as though they have a stake in what happens with Ukraine? I'm concerned that Putin is actually thinking that he is the savior of Western civilization, because he's looking at the woke condition of America and Europe, and he's actually looking at it and saying, this is like decay. It's time for the great Russian Empire to rise up and save the world from the corrupt bullying of the West. This is what's going on in the minds of other people, and you're not going to get that when you're listening to the drums of war that are all anti-Putin. What he's done is it can't be excused. But the rationale behind this propaganda bombardment over Ukraine is equally suspect, because in the Ukraine, you're not really fighting for a democracy. The whole premise of their revolution, their color revolution, was to shut down democracy and install an individual, former comedian who played a president on a TV show, captured the popular zeitgeist of the nation, and went in, but didn't gut out the corruption. He didn't end because the corruption is so deep. It's like Trump going to Washington and draining the swamp. There's something we're missing here with what's going on. And now that we've gone through 2 years of the pandemic and the Vax Max and the mask and the passports and the push of these global authoritarians to try to shut down freedom of speech. They prosecuted pastors in the West. They've still got Arthur, our buddy Pawlowski, locked up in Canada. These Western democracies aren't operating like democracies, and you should be visibly suspicious about what the real story is, and not so quick to jump on the bandwagon of being manipulated by the swirl of media coverage, especially when we look back at 9/11 and realize the last time we were in a place like this, Mercedes, when the nation was all whipped up into a frenzy and on the same page, and the industrial military complex was filling its coffers with billions of dollars of funding. Remember how we had $2 trillion in Afghanistan because we're making progress on the nation state. We're making progress on building a nation state. Lindsey Graham is saying it because he gets paid by the military lobby, and that's how come he's in charge of the Senate Armed Services Committee, because he loves to see the battle lines drawn. And besides all that, we know something. I would play the segment here, but I don't think we have it ready to be queued up, of Peter Navarro.
I have it.
You do have it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I hold that because we're going to go there. This all is playing to the election agenda of what Biden wants to do by changing the subject of America's disastrous economic meltdown, its bleeding border, and its crime surge. And he's going to start to put it all at evil Russia's doorstep. And he's been given the perfect opportunity to divert the nation's attention over. So when your gas prices are soaring, there's no food, he's going to say it's Russia, not me, and you need me here to deal with America in a time of crisis. So, Mercedes, that's where I'm starting from. And what are your thoughts on this?
That's good. Do you want me to play the clip, though?
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's play the Bannon. Peter Navarro was the economic trade director for Trump.
He's going to say this is all because of Putin. This is all the financial, the dumpster fire that is the American economy. In fact, Cortez is going to get in the second. I think it was ABC or CBS got ahead of it saying all this great growth and the comeback growth economy and the Biden growth economy is going to be thwarted by Putin and the oligarchs. That dog ain't going to hunt. CNBC and ABC and CBS, you can put it on all you want. We're going to blow it up every time we do because it's nonsense. It's direct actions of Joe Biden and his illegitimate, the regime here. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
My worst fear here is that once again, for the second big time in several decades, this is going to divert us from communist China as the single most important existential threat to this country and the world. Back in the Bush administration, a little history for you. The Bush administration early on was actually going to pivot to China, and then along came 9/11, and we lost 15 years to get to Donald Trump. This is going to happen.
Long came 9/11, and also the Bush family making tons of dough as they sent Scowcroft over there.
And Cheney, let's not forget Dick Cheney, because he was the real puppet master in the White House. But my point simply is that, Steve, you and I know that the existential threat to this world and this country is communist China, and now we got chaos again in Europe. But from an investment point of view, watching the markets, I think it tells you a lot about how things are unfolding by how the markets are going, and that's my role here on the show in some sense, and Cortez as well.
All right, so let me unpack a bit about what Navarro is trying to say. He's saying that the State of the Union address is going to be a misdirection. It's kind of almost like a magic act where, you point to the hand over here and everybody's focusing over here. Meanwhile, you're not looking at the other hand over here and then, what's going on there? What they're going to be doing is they're going to say that all of America's problems financially aren't because of the dumpster fire of pumping America with trillions of dollars of irresponsible spending in order to try to feed both $5 trillion during COVID, which with no output. There was no industry for that. Just funding people to become socialists, almost stay at home and don't work. Now they're trying to blame the inflation and the challenge we're going to have with energy prices going up another $1 to these astronomical costs of running the trucking industry, the airline industry, the food manufacturing, and it's all going to be blamed on Russia. The point that he's making is China has made a deal with Russia. China has not condemned what Putin is doing. China made a deal with Putin. Xi and Putin got together like Hitler and Stalin when they wanted to carve up the European map. And they decide they're going to work together. So all the sanctions that we put on Russia, forget the fact that we got $50 million a day we're giving them for gas, 600,000 barrels of oil a day that we're buying from Russia. that China said, whatever sanctions are put on you, we're opening up our market, our billion people market, to you, Putin. We're going to basically become your new economic partner. And when Russia and China become partners, it's in order to take the dollar down and destroy the American economy. And that's when we come back, what we want to focus on.
Are you thinking about clinking away? Don't click away. The whole podcast is over on lancewallnell.com/podcast. Go download the whole thing. Go there. They're there every day. The full uncensored truth just for